Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to MK Convenience Brokerage. My name is Mohammed. In this video, I'm going to go over the important information of having a passport and some of the rules regulation. Before I start, as you know, passport is one of the things you need to travel outside the United States. This is a United States passport if you're planning to go to, let's say, India, China, Japan, uh, places like that. You need a passport. Obviously, you can't go without a passport. Let's go on the first part. Some of the items in the passport people don't read it, so I'm gonna help you explain some of the things that maybe better understand it to you. The treasury is basically you can go purchase certain things in certain countries. To keep that in mind, you can bring certain things over in this country. For example, agriculture. You cannot bring food or any other animal products, birds, animals, vegetables, plants, other items you cannot bring over here. It's unlawful. You can carry diseases, stuff like that. So keep that in mind. The IRS. Well, if you're working outside of the country, you also need to fill out report a worldwide income form. So keep that in mind. Loss of theft, destruction of passport. Keep that in mind. If you do lose your passport, you do have to. And obviously, if you report it outside the United States, you have to locate a police authority and tell them what happened. Make sure you know that part. You have to go to the nearest embassy. If you can't find a police station, go to the embassy. That's one of the best bet you could do. A consulate, and then speak to them. A passport is a valid citizenship and identity document. Without that, they can't identify who you are. So keep that in mind. And this passport is a property of the United States government. It must be surrendered upon demand if made by an authorized representative of the United States government. What is visa? It is important responsible to the passport bidder to obtain the necessary visa. So if you're planning to go to a country, you need a visa. It could be a visit visa, work visa. It could be maybe business visa, depending on what it is. It's your responsibility to do that. Health. Under the international health reputation and country may require an international certificate of vaccination only against yellow fever. Smallpox vaccination is not required by any country. No immunization are required to return to the United States. Prophylactic medication of implementing certain other preventive measures are advised for more travelers. If you're going outside of country, certain countries might require it. They want you to, let's say if you go to Saudi Arabia, one of the countries, they want you to get certain shots before you enter the country because the country has high temperatures and our bodies are not used to, especially in the United States. Some of the states, should I say, are not used to high temperatures, so they want you to have certain shots to take before they enter. Health insurance, well, as you know, if you're traveling outside, you have to regard their health insurance rules and regulation. Your Medicaid is not going to cover it, obviously, if you're outside the United States, so keep that in mind. Custom services, obviously, know before you go. When if you go into a different country, know about their customs requirement. Obtain a copy from your nearest custom office from the United States Customs Services, PO Box 74007, Washington D.C. You want to know about their rules and regulation, what they are, how they work. So keep that in mind. Altercation of multiple passport. This passport must be altered or notified in any way. Altercation makes it invalid and may subject to prosecution. To keep that in mind. Loss of citizenship. Under certain circumstances, you may lose your United States citizenship by performing any of the following acts: being naturalized a foreign state, taking an oath or making a declaration to a foreign state, serving in the armed forces of a foreign state, accepting an employment with a foreign government, formally renouncing United States citizenship before United States consular office overseas. For detailed information, consult the nearest American embassy or consulate or contact the Office of Citizen Consular Department. This is the number right over here. Dual citizen, a person who has a citizenship of more than one country at the same time is considered a dual citizenship. Citizenship may be based on falls of birth, marriage, percentage, naturalization. Meaning, like, let's say if you go to a country where if you marry somebody in the country, male or female, you can get dual citizenship. So that's what they're saying. Travel information. If you're traveling outside the United States, make sure you bring, consult your embassy and consulate it overseas. Let them know that you're going to be traveling here for such and such a day, so that they know in an emergency if something does happen, they know where to locate you. When traveling in distressed or remote areas of residence, you should register and keep in touch with the nearest American embassies. That's like I said. You can always contact this number, just to make sure. Tips for travelers: important information. Make sure you have a valid passport and visa that is required in case of an emergency. A relative in the United States should have a passport also, or a copy of the passport just in case. Call the State Department Citizenship Emergency Center at 202-646-5225 for information to the overseas to be visited. Stay aware of an event in the country you are visiting. Make 2 photocopies of your passport identification page. Leave 1 copy of at home. Carry the other with you at a separate place from your passport. This is facilitated as a replacement if your passport is lost or stolen. Leave a copy of your itinerary with family or friends at home so that you can be contacted in case of emergency. When traveling or distributing remote areas, or if you're residing abroad, register with keep in touch with the nearest American embassy or consulate. Do not leave the luggage unattended in public areas or accept packages from strangers. Common sense, you don't know who they are. They might be harming you in such a way, to keep that in mind. Avoid conscious clothing and expensive jewelry, and do not carry excessive amount of money or unnecessary credit cards. In order to avoid violating local laws, deal with only authorized agents when exchanging money or purchasing souvenirs. Familiarize yourself with local laws and customs and countries to which you are admitted. With a foreign country, you are subject to its law. Contact the United States consul if you get into trouble. It's quite simple rules. Keep that in mind if you go into a country such as Saudi Arabia, or like that, most of that type of country where the laws are very strict. You have to abide by their rules and regulation. Keep that in mind. They have their own policy to follow, own regulations to follow. Every country has its own set of laws. You don't get into trouble. Some countries don't allow drinking in public. Others do. Like if you go to Dubai, drinking, they have bars, they have stuff like that, so you won't get a culture shock. But some countries like Saudi Arabia, Yemen, those are the countries where the rules are a little bit stricter. So keep that in mind. Drinking is not allowed. Commingling with women is not allowed. So you want to make sure whichever country you visit, you want to deal with their rules and regulation. Even though you don't accept their rules, you have to accept it. That's how I see it. These are the emergency entries and sorries. Passport is a property of the United States government and must be surrendered upon demand of authorized representative, the Department of State. The passport is not valid unless signed by the bearer of the H2. Laws that restriction of passport, alteration of multi-name passport, laws of nationality for dual nationals, as we went over some of the stuff. And this is the last page of general information: health insurance, custom services, treasury and agriculture. I mean, we went over this, but better to go over. So basically, that's about it, guys. These are some of the things when you want to know about general passport information. If I haven't covered it, always consult, go online and check with your own. Do a little bit of research with the country you go to. Get to learn their culture. It will, believe me, it will help you out a lot, especially if you're planning to stay there for a longer period of time. Even for a short time, knowing something, where the police stations, hospitals are, and having a mental image of the map can help you big time. So with that said, guys, thank you again for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other questions, comment, concern, please comment, like, subscribe. I'll try my best to help you out as much as I can and as fast as I can. Thank you again, guys, for enjoying this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.